Alfredo is the new and surprise album from producer The Alchemist and rapper Freddie Gibbs. This isn't actually the first time that they've worked with each other. Their collaborative efforts date back to at least 2011, where Freddie Gibbs appeared on the Covert Coup Currency and Alchemist album, and Freddie Gibbs teamed up with both artists to produce the collab album Fetty back in 2018. At this point in their careers, both Gibbs and Alchemist are essentially seasoned veterans at their respective crafts, but also veterans in the art of the collaborative album. Freddie Gibbs' surge to popularity in the last decade has been thanks, in part, to his collaborative albums with legendary producer Madlib. And The Alchemist has too many collab albums for me to even name. I think this is his third one of 2020 so far. He did a collab album with Boldy James and Conway the Machine as well. This new album is very, very short, concise, and jam-packed. It's only 10 songs, it's 35 minutes, I believe. And they also enlist the help of a few feature rappers, Rick Ross, Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher, and Tyler the Creator. Alfredo, for me, is simply the sound of two very, very talented and experienced artists doing what they do best. The beats that The Alchemist crafts for Freddie Gibbs to rap over are, as expected, very, very beautifully arranged collections of soul samples that just ooze class. And in my opinion, Freddie Gibbs has been probably the most vivid and articulate street poet in this gangster rap subgenre for the past decade, and this album is no exception to that. Sometimes his depiction of his gangster lifestyle are very colourful, sometimes they're very bleak, but they are always endlessly engrossing. God is Perfect is a perfect example of this. It's built around a very, very creepy, kind of haunting piano sample, which I must point out is eerily similar to another Alchemist beat, and that would be Break the Bank from the Schoolboy Q album, Oxymoron. Gibbs provides his trademark, versatile flow switching, while he's painting a very, very real picture of gang warfare, double-crossing, and violence. The important thing to note, and this has been consistent throughout Freddie Gibbs' discography, is that these vivid depictions of the gangster lifestyle and gang violence are never glamorized. They're never painted as something to aspire to do. He never portrays it in a manner that sounds even remotely appealing. It's always a very, very harsh and grim depiction of the world that he happens to know. And I think that's the sentiment, that's the driving force for the darkest song on this album, which is Skinny Suge. The first thing you hear on Skinny Suge is that guitar sample. It's one of those samples where as soon as you hear it, you know this beat is going to be something different. The whole song is like a statement on the paranoia that is inevitable after leading this very, very dangerous, risky lifestyle. It's evident, especially in the first verse. Freddie on this song is very, very paranoid and worried. One of the lyrics, he says, "Every night I dream a nigga trying to murder me, visions of my loved ones dialing 911 emergency." Freddie Gibbs for me has always been an anomaly when it comes to gangster rappers, and that's because he has a very, very distinct willingness to be open and vulnerable to his emotions in song, and I think this particular song is the pinnacle of that. I think it's maybe the most vulnerable thing he's ever written. Again, it's that brutal, harsh honesty about his gangster lifestyle that makes his storytelling so engrossing. At one point in this song, he says, "My uncle died of overdose, and the fucked up part is that I know I supplied the nigga that sold it." Throughout the song, he does not for a second mince his words. He goes on to describe how he flirted with the idea of suicide, his loneliness as a result of the lifestyle that he's been leading, and his issues with substance abuse as well. This is the gangster lifestyle. This is the real, brutal depiction of what a gangster has to go through when he's alone in his room just with his thoughts. This song is essentially the emotional toll that this lifestyle inevitably leads to. And again, what I love about this particular song is that Freddie Gibbs doesn't ask or beg for our pity, and he doesn't try and maintain some facade either. It's just a brutally honest portrayal. Alfredo isn't this dark and gloomy for the entirety of its runtime. One of the standouts on the tracklist when you're just reading it on paper is the song Something to Rap About featuring Tyler, the Creator. Whilst at first it seems like a left field choice for Freddie Gibbs to team up with Tyler, the Creator, just considering how wildly different their sounds are. This isn't the first time that Freddie Gibbs has teamed up with a member of the Odd Future collective. I believe on Pinata, he teamed up with Domo Genesis and Earl Sweatshirt on the same song. The beat for this song is the most laid-back, breezy, easygoing thing on the entire album. It's built around very, very bright and full of life guitar sample, backed by some very, very faint percussion. As expected, Freddie Gibbs and Tyler rap about very different things. Freddie Gibbs, once again, is detailing his former gangster lifestyle. At one point in the song, he says, "God made me sell crack so I'd have something to rap about." What's interesting about this song and the beat specifically is that as soon as Tyler steps in and he begins his verse, the pitch of the beat changes and it goes up at least one or two semitones. And I think that might be something to do with the fact that Tyler's the content of his verse is very, very different from Gibbs. It's a bit more colourful and full of life. It's not gangster raps. Tyler's not a gangster. It's describing his fame, his wealth, and how he navigates his celebrity status. It's a very simple song, but it's just so damn relaxing and effortless. And it's that effortless swagger that just remains throughout the entire album. Not a single moment on this album is forced, and that's because Gibbs and Alchemist have been doing this for so many years. It's second nature to them. What's scary to me, what's mind-blowing to me, is that they make it sound easy, but this is by no means easy. This is the result of two extremely skilled musicians. The album is so consistent, and the beats are so rich and lush. The song Scotty Beam with Rick Ross is another example of that. Once again, it's built around a piano sample, which is somewhat of a trademark for Alchemist beats. Scotty Beam may be the most overtly socially conscious song on this album, referencing both Gil Scott-Heron and the issue of race and specifically police profiling. Rick Ross provides an expected, glamorous, lush, laid-back verse. It's not the most amazing verse that he's ever written. It's not his best feature by any means, but it's definitely within his comfort zone. Frank Lucas is a strange song, especially when you first hear the beat. It's very brooding and dark, and there's a strange kind of synth noise that is just looming throughout most of the song. On Frank Lucas, Gibbs spits maybe my favourite set of bars on the entire album. He says, "Fuck rap, bitch, I'm popping off of poppy seed, my name cocaine, they ain't gonna put me in the nominees." That is fact. That is just fact. Of course, his verse is followed up by a very, very aggressive but strong feature from Benny the Butcher. Everything about this album is second nature for these guys, in my opinion. It's very pure and it's devoid of pretense. But I think the most important thing is that it's so organic. Now, Freddie Gibbs has stated before that, to him, the only people he believes can rap better than him are Black Thought and Kendrick Lamar. I think if we're looking at Gibbs' output throughout the last 7, 8, 9 years, we have to start taking that claim very seriously. We've had Pinata, Bandana, Shadow of a Doubt, You Only Live Twice, Freddie, even the self-titled album, and now Alfredo. He has been one of the most consistent rappers in recent times. If you're taking that raw talent and undeniable talent and consistency and teaming that up with The Alchemist, who is one of the most widely respected producers in the hip-hop community, it's always going to produce greatness. Going into Alfredo, I was expecting to hear one of the strongest rap albums of 2020, and I believe that is exactly what I got. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and dong the bell, and I will see you next time.